everybody, and welcome to Hidden and Broken, a Mantic Warpath Universe podcast with a focus on epic Warpath. I'm Drek. Tonight I'm joined by Don, Jordan, and Josh, and we are going to discuss the Adepticon Pre-Game tournament that we ran at the end of February. Before we jump into that, just some quick notes. Adepticon currently has 2 slots open for the tournament. Looks like I had a couple of drops. I did have a pickup, so we've got 2 open slots right now. We're sitting at 14 players. All 3 of the big game events are sold out. So if you are going to be at Adepticon and you still want to play, you should be able to register at the event itself. And you can still probably get a list tossed into the application. You can check the Facebook group for that, or ping me, or hit us up on the Epic Warpath group, Epic Warpath Fanatics Facebook group. There's numerous ways to find us, Mantic Discord, whatever. So,
I also add, before you move on, I want to add to that, if anybody is thinking about going, this would be the year to do it, especially if you were new, because I think the group that is going to be very accommodating to new players this year.
Well, yes, we've conveniently met like half of them.
Yes, I think everybody's been really cool. We are half of them. And then several others are really cool and easygoing and will certainly be helpful. So if you're on the fence because of how much playtime you've had, I would say just sign up.
Yeah, well, and Sam, who you played round 1, Don, he's going to Adepticon as well. I know a couple of other guys. I've seen the list of players, and I know a couple of the other guys are there who are both really good dudes, and one of them will probably curb stomp you, but he'll do it politely, and the other one will give you a good time.
So it's the first year of Epic, so we're all noobs, right?
Yes, but I'm saying if anybody was worried about signing up because of the amount of time they've had with the rule set, I think that they should just go ahead and sign up, and we will get them through the first game, and then after that, they'll be fine.
I would say, based on the Mantic Companion statistics, we are amongst the most experienced tournament players in the Epic Warpath community. All right, so Saturday, February 28th, we had the Adepticon Pre-Game. My FLGS hosted us. I had 12 slots. I had 12 slots filled. I had 1 cancellation day of, so I had 11 players show up from as far north as Michigan over to Indiana, up to Cleveland, down to Columbus. I had 2 locals. One of my locals didn't show. My other local was late. That's right, Trey. I'm calling you out again.
Calling out both.
Oh, I already gave Wes crap, but I don't know if he listens.
But Trey does.
Trey does. He commented already that he's like, oh man, he's like, first time I listened and I already got called out. So, see, Sam came in first place with the Plague. We had Denver in second with the Asterians and Ryan in third with the Forge Fathers. The only factions we did not have see field were Vermin and Nameless. So we had a nice faction spread amongst 12 players, and I think overall it was a good time. I don't know, you guys played in it. Did the TO screw it up?
Totally.
I think you did something to my dice.
Listen, I think it might be the Josh, not you, but to Josh Lohman effect, because my dice did unquestionably bad things to me when I had the chance to play him. So,
oddly enough, the 2 factions that were not played, Josh could have played.
Yeah, I could.
A double of the doors with him.
Not only could Josh have played them, he had them both fully painted already, didn't he?
Right.
Yeah, actually my Veermen are painted to a desk or tabletop level. The Nameless are almost there.
You could have brought a Techno Nest onto the table and wowed everybody.
Yes, I could have.
Well, let's jump into to the tournament itself. So round 1, the scenario was long edge deployment up to 15 inches or 15 inches between each player. It was 5 objectives, 1 static, and then 4 dynamics. that did not score until the end of round 3. From the end of round 3 onwards, objective scored. Everything else was kills based. 1 for infantry or bikes, 2 for heavy infantry, command and vehicles, and walkers, and 3 for super heavies. Did see a number of super heavies on the table, which was fun. But round 1, Don, let's start with you. You played Sam. It was a hot plague on plague action. Want to talk about the game?
Yeah. So, full disclosure, this was my first game that I played. Josh took me through a demo game in October, and that was literally the only playing that I had. So, I cared very little about the scenario and was just more interested in learning the game. I brought a plague list based on speed, which isn't really a plague thing, but I wanted to try because I was only using the starter set, so I didn't have any like the cool extra toys. So I went with 2 stage 3 commanders in mules, 3 sets of ghouls in mules, a couple of squads of zombies, some leapers, some bursters, and a tank buster strider crew because I needed something that could shoot an aircraft. They were them or the tanks I didn't have. And then 1 squad of plague artillery. Rounded it out with a bombardment and take and hold to fill in the last few points I had available. Actually, to the dot, I went 1,500 points on the nose. The scenario 1 went.
I'll get you a golf clap.
Thanks. It was okay. I didn't position properly, and I hindered myself on the speed I was trying to create, and my mules lagged behind, not giving me the effect that I was looking for, and the particular terrain setup was pretty center heavy. So there was some really bad funneling going on with the squad, so we kind of ran into each other on both the left and right sides of the table in big clumps. So I didn't really play. Yeah, I know. I killed none of my opponent's stuff at all. He did bring a super heavy. The
Colossus.
big dog Colossus, thank you. And that kind of just rampaged. I tried to avoid it as much as possible. Eventually got around to the other side. We had a pretty heavy assault in the middle with some zombies. And immediately I was met with how things in buildings work. And I don't like it. I chose to give up the building in the middle. Maybe I had dropped some commander on my head, but I was like, maybe I don't want to be in there. And then he jumped in with his zombies, and then I was like, oh wow, now I can't get them out at all. So I tried to assault. That didn't really work out. So that was kind of a bloodbath in the middle. He came around the
that's
side.
better than the alternative of the Colossus eating the building.
Yes, yes. That was the other, yes, thanks for reminding me. That was the other reason I didn't want to go in there. Because Colossus was literally right on the other side of that building, so I was like, well. And so he just proceeded to pummel through my crews and chip away at them. And I think I scored a little bit of points on one of the objectives, but that was going to be about it. I couldn't really hold my own just because of my poor positioning and also a lack of knowledge of the rule set.
Well, Sam did end up winning it all, and I think he's probably played more games of Epic at this point than all of us combined, so he is pretty knowledgeable of the game and its ins and outs at this point.
Yeah, and I think we only got through turn 3 to 4, somewhere around there. I think we got a quick turn 4 in at the end. We didn't finish it, but we scored on it. So it was I was definitely slow playing, not on purpose, just trying to get through the rules. So he was actually a really good first opponent because he was very helpful with reminding me of things I was doing wrong and not being upset about it. So
he's the dude that ran the Faction Frenzy tournament that Jordan and I had the pleasure of playing in back in December. So Yeah, he's good.
Okay, yeah. That was like
So
500 points or something, right?
1,000 point. Yeah, that's and
Okay.
you've got a different army every round. It was a good experience
Right.
to kind of touch armies that you're not normally going to see. So,
Yeah. That
round
was round
two.
one.
Say again.
That was round one. Got stumped.
Yeah, yeah. But round two, you played a Pinned and Broken alumni in Josh, his Forge Fathers.
Did.
So
So
you want me to go through the mission quick?
yeah, go ahead,
Alumni?
sorry.
You're acting like we kicked Josh out. He's graduated and moved on.
I'm on better, more exciting podcast, you know?
Oh shit! Well, what's the right word? I'm sorry.
Member?
Don't. Are you trying to get us demonetized talking about his member?
Check out my OnlyFans.
Nothing but stunts.
I'm not. I'm not only the club president. I'm also a member.
You are a member, that's for sure. So, so round two, I made the questionable choice to add corner deployment, and did everybody hate that? Was corner deployment a bad choice, or was it just
wasn't.
that the questionably written way of which corner deployment was described in the scenario pack?
Exactly that, yeah. Nobody, like, I don't like corner deployment, but I don't really care that much about it. But the way that they worded that was horrible.
I will
Well-
say that as a result of running this event, I was able to revise both the tournament and scenario packs for actual Adepticon to iron out issues just like this. So it's much clearer in the scenario pack that is posted for Adepticon. This one was 5 dynamic objectives, so everything was flipping constantly. Active dynamics were worth 3 points. And then unit strength wholly within deployment zones were also worth additional points. And did anyone mess with any reserves in any of the missions that we played?
No, I
I
think
didn't.
reserves are just awful.
Says the Forge Father who has useful drop troops.
I know, and I still don't bring them.
Nice.
I suppose-
I technically did the last 2 games because I had somebody flying in on the Chimera gunship.
But they
Oh.
started on the table. Well, I mean, they started in the Chimera,
Yes.
so they were never in reserve.
Let's
No,
see. So,
not really.
Don, you had Josh round 2, and Josh will revisit this game, I guess, a second time when we talk to you, unless you just want to take care of it talking with Don now.
Well, our game, all 4 of the objectives were off turn 1, and then so we were like there was,
Yeah, it was
4
4 and 1.
on, yeah, 1 on, 4 on, 1 on, and Don just kind of swamped me in bodies and kept me off some objectives, and it was close. I think he only won by like 3 points or something.
Literally right at the end, yeah. And I had to take advantage of my take and hold, I believe, during that game to get a second scoring option on the one side that I was actually controlling
Oh, nice.
pretty handedly, so that worked out. I did forget to use my bombardment that round, though. It might have helped a little bit.
Or it would have missed terribly.
I mean, from my army performed well. I feel like it was shooting Don's army in the face and, having a great time for it, but I just could not get through the bodies on objectives.
I was getting my zombies and other things that walked up the 6+ saves, and I was getting pretty lucky on some of those as well. I was keeping stuff on the table longer than they probably should have.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable to hear Don having good dice rolls.
Until the 3rd round. But then we'll get to that. Yeah, so we took advantage of the backfield, and I kept my Striders back there. Twofold, one to score, and also to because Josh had his Flyers go to the back to try and take out my artillery. And I sent my mules after jumping off some people after his commander in the backfield because he didn't leave anybody else there for me to target, so I was able to target him.
Oh, nice.
He never died. Or did he die?
I killed him
Did you? Oh, okay.
at the end. Yeah, I got him. Took like 3 turns or whatever, but the mules finally prevailed.
I can just see that situation room. Mr. Plague Lord, we got him.
But yeah, it was heavy models up the middle. I kind of had to slink back a little bit because Josh had some pretty good armor out there, and
He's a dwarf.
unfortunately, the plague mules aren't quite as good as GCPS, and they get popped fairly easily. I had already suffered to that first round 1, so I was playing a little more careful with them. He still ended up getting one of them. And so I lost some ghouls out of that, and then just kind of held back and just tried to sit on as much of the objectives as I could, trying to score that way. That's pretty much all I did was just tar pit them.
Josh had some good old-fashioned stern hammers, did you?
I did, and they did work. I mean, the Sternhammers did not disappoint. Like I said, I was killing just about everything I was looking at except Don's tar pits in the center there.
One thing I noticed after 2 full rounds, I noticed that the plague artillery are like paper thin.
Yeah.
They look beefy.
Yeah.
The models do, but they die so fast.
Yeah, what are they, like armor 6? And there is no heavy armor on those, so they get
No, they are not. Yep.
Yeah, I discovered that not during the tournament. I played a game with Trey to teach him the game before the tournament, and I managed to get some peacekeepers in range of his artillery and just ripped them apart. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
so
I
that
have
made
to do to
it
those.
a little extra tough since I was hitting almost nothing with my bomb, my indirect fire the entire tournament, really.
Do you think, given how kind of paper thin the armor on those is, do you think that makes the mortar teams a more viable option? Because that's a specialist choice. So that frees you up another support slot.
They need to get more in the thick of it because their range is not as good.
Right.
So even though their artillery does die quickly, the flyers are what kind of ended up being their doom, because for rounds 2 and 3 they had flyers, and so they can get back to the back fairly easily enough. So it wasn't really that I cared how long they lived. Plague in general doesn't have good answers to aircraft, so it was just kind of how it is.
Let's see here.
I would say they're also cheap as shit, so.
They are cheap. They are ridiculously cheap.
So, I mean, I think for the points, I'm not arguing their cost to their effectiveness. I just was surprised how fast that they died. Yeah, and then with the 36-inch range, I was looking at the mortar crew, but I'm unsure. I'd have to get some play with them. It's kind of one of those things where I'd have to try it out.
Right.
I would say that indirect fire is kind of typically it's unreliable in games, but I would say more so in this just because of the amount of deviation that can happen.
I kind of consider Panthers an auto include on my enforcer list just because I like having that chance of pinning stuff down with that 36-inch range. It's kind of hard to deny it. And, targeting stuff in buildings is great with them.
Yes and no. That wasn't a good against Joel in my 3rd round, but we'll get to that.
We will get to that. Round 3, we went back to standard long edge deployment.
Oh, so sorry, I ended up winning that round right at the very end. So it was very back and forth, and I would say technically I probably should have lost that game. Josh and I had a little rules issue where we thought that if you were on Overwatch, you weren't allowed to participate in
in
The
the
close combat.
assaults.
in close
Yeah.
combat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that he wouldn't have fallen quite as quickly.
Yeah, if you have an Overwatch, you're not allowed to initiate the assaults, but you are
Yeah.
certainly allowed to defend yourself.
So, another rule that I don't care for that I'll talk about later.
Oh, sounds spicy. Well, round 3, we went back to the long range deployment. There were 3 dynamic objectives. Place them following rules for objective placement, and then 1 static objective marker in each player's deployment zone, at least 9 inches from any of the other objectives. Each player scored VPs for any objective they claimed. Rounds 1, 2, and 3, active dynamic objectives were worth 3. From round 4 onward, they were worth 5. And the player with the most VPs won the game.
I think this
So
scenario
you
was
faced
my.
off against.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was to say you faced off against Joel's enforcers.
Yeah. So this was the first time seeing enforcers, so I had no idea what they were going to be doing. So I kind of just was playing. I played a little offensive, which cost me a bit because
I
I
was
gave
going
him
to say
too
Joel
many
appreciated
targets.
that.
Yeah, I gave him too many targets early on. I would say this scenario was my favorite. I do like the idea of those objectives scoring more in later rounds. That's actually a pretty cool twist on a basic, it's just a very basic objective mission.
Mhm.
So for this one, I face off against Joel. He took to the buildings straight away, and I put so much effort into getting him out of those buildings, and I could not. I was putting in my indirect fire. I was putting in close combat. I was just doing everything I could. I was dinking at them with all my transports. They were impossible to get rid of.
Yeah. Operatives in a
Especially since
building
he
are
had-
sitting at armor 7.
Yeah, because he had, and stealth. So like, even though my indirect
He
fire
brought
ignored,
Pathfinders?
even though my indirect fire ignored his cover, he still had stealth. So I still had all that to chew through, and it just was not working out. So I would say that I didn't really have an answer without being able to get into the building. And without being able to destroy the buildings, which again, Plague has no option to destroy buildings except for the Colossus.
I mean, I
that's
know
the same for basically every faction.
Well, yeah,
which is
enforcers
a problem.
The enforcers can only destroy buildings with persecutors, which is their bomber.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
But I know for a fact, Don, that you have a Colossus. That's all I'm saying.
I have it now. I didn't have it then.
And you got 2 weeks.
So
I'm just saying.
I am going to bring it. Yeah, so it is coming in my list. If no other reason, then I get to bring less stuff. But, I just rushed the objectives as much as I could. It worked out early, but then I started losing ground at the end, and this was kept close. And then towards the end, Joel was able to squeak me out. I think almost on the last round, maybe. Again, I tried to tar pit as much as I could, especially with the zombies. I doubled him up on one side and got all the way into his backfield. And his one objective that he kept back there, I just tried to get at it. And so we had a big slug back there. And then what's their really good close combat crew? Infantry?
Assault operatives?
Something like that, but they were really, really good.
Peacekeepers aren't bad.
Yeah, they were. I ended up getting through them, but I had to put like everything into them.
Probably peacekeepers.
They were tough to get through, yeah. And so that was basically the way it went.
They have heavy armor.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Peacekeepers.
So I had to chew through the buildings as best as I could. That failed. So then I tried to chew through his right flank, and I was trying to overwhelm him, take over that objective, and then redirect some of my zombies into the center objective, where I had ghouls, but he chewed through them from the buildings much faster than I expected. and just kind of like went down on bodies, and then just didn't quite have enough bodies to redirect to areas that I needed to towards the end of that objective, and like I said, it was close. So, 2 of my games were pretty close. And considering this was a straight up starter box crew,
Yeah.
I was actually really happy to even keep it that close.
Yeah.
Even if I had lost against Josh, that game still would have been close enough that I've been happy with.
The Plague Lord is such a nice command unit for you too, especially if you're going to push zombies upfield.
Yeah, I have plans for him. Zombies and Leapers, guided by him, is how I'm going to go for Adepticon. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, it's like the obvious synergy, but it's really effective. That aura he has gives them what frenzy. Is it frenzy 3?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Sustained attack and vicious.
Is
that what it is? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
I mean, you're tossing nine stands of zombies with sustained attack and vicious. Jeez, that's scary.
Along with the Leapers. So that's
the Leapers are worse.
Exploding 8s on both ends and possibly recuperating their losses as they go along. So yeah, should be a pretty hard crew to get through. But
so a Plague Lord and a Colossus showing up on your gun list.
Yeah. It's not going to do shit against armor, so I kind of have to be a little wary about that. And also, any aircraft on the table, again, I'm going to keep the Striders just because that's really all I have to help against that. But, I can't really play. I don't think Plague is an army that can play for all scenarios. I think they kind of just need to be foot on the gas pedal.
Well, that's the fun thing with tournaments too, is trying to have the scenarios that force you to make choices for the all-comer list. Some scenarios you're just not going to win at, or you're going to have a hard time winning at. And others you're going to table your opponent. So.
Yep, and this is a faction where I feel like I can have fun with my list building, and that's more what I'm interested in rather than winning. So.
It's definitely a faction too that I feel like aesthetically is more fun for you to work with.
Yes, yeah. Those who don't know me, I'm a huge fan of like horror movies, so it is an aesthetic that I typically go for. So
yeah, you got some nice body horror going on, and yeah, it's. I can't wait to see what you do with Firefight Plague. I'm excited to see what your army's going to end up looking like there.
I opened those boxes and I was like overwhelmed with these sprues. Holy crap!
I don't think there's a lot other stuff you need to pick up, so I think you're pretty good to start off.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna take me a while to get through all that infantry.
Yeah.
Well, back to the tournament. That was 1 win, 2 losses, 1 close game though. So I would say I was extremely happy to be finishing center of the field, and the tournament that I expected to be bottom table the whole time. So.
Well, and if I'm to trust the rankings here, it looks like you did better than our next combatant, who at this point had never lost a game of Epic Warpath.
I will say with that though, like I got my ass kicked and barely won a lot of my games.
So you brought your Marauders, which anyone that's listened to us should expect that. Do you want to talk about what you had in your list?
Sure. So I had 2 companies. In my first company, I had Ripper Mech, accompanied by squad of commandos, a squad of commando heavies, and some Wolverine tanks. And then in company number 2, I had a Ripper Warlord, followed by another squad of commando heavies, Maul Beasts, some Ripper Maulers, and a Chimera gunship.
Did I not hear the word Rainmaker in there? Or did I miss it?
I brought no Rainmakers.
Oh, well, that explains your tournament results.
Maybe it does.
So round one, you faced off against Josh Lohman, who came with our Josh from the Cleveland area. He brought his enforcers down. And how'd that go? How did you handle the enforcers?
So the way things got set up, I threw one objective in the center building, and we kind of both headed there, and it's a pretty big slugfest there. End of turn one, we had some early shooting. Turn 1.5, I really thought he had the favor because he got some really good lucky shots on my Chimera gunship. I think he had both resilience off. He rolled really well in his first shots against it on turn 2.
Let me pause you real quick. Marauders aren't retail available yet, so a lot of people may not be overly familiar with the units. The Marauders, you're flying super heavy, correct?
The Chimera,
the
that's
Chimera.
the flying super heavy. Yep. And he got a couple good long range shots off with some of his tank stuff. He had really good positioning with. I think he had some peacekeepers over, and then whatever the. There's a tank commander.
The Victor Mark II.
Yeah, so he had them entrenched behind some peacekeepers in the one back corner, basically sitting on an objective. So it's pretty good defensive position that worked for him throughout most of the game.
3 dice, 30 inches, AP2 is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, we were kind of trading pot shots between that stuff and my Wolverines, and my Wolverines were really suffering from one-shot syndrome. So yeah, things were a close thing through turn 2. I ended up running up my Maul Beasts, doing a really long charge on it's probably turn 3 before they got all the way across board. Fun models in both Firefight and Epic.
Screw those dogs.
They're a sacrifice, right? They're going to get one good melee in, and that's pretty much it. Because if there's assaults coming back at them, armor 4 just doesn't last. So, but they got some work in. I think they slaughtered some of the Pathfinders. But then turn 3 and turn 4, I think we just got into turn 4. Yeah. If I remember correctly. Again, a slow game, all learning. So it was a lot of killing points, and then we just had one round of objective scoring. But turns 3 and turns 4, my Chimera just would not die and started clearing the table because that thing has lots and lots of shots. Like lots of shots.
So does it have a great number of shots or?
So 15, and then if you choose to alpha strike with it, basically make it lose its flying bonus to not getting shot at as well. Mm-hmm. You can increase that by 5 more shots total.
So 17.
I think it goes from 15 to 20.
Oh wow!
You end up with 8 shots on each of the 2 rotary cannons, and then you go from 3 shots to 5 shots on the HEW.
Nice.
As it's a flyer, it makes it easier to be seen. And this is more of an observation in all the games I played. Armor 8 versus Armor 9 is a significant difference.
Yes, it is a one difference.
Right.
But no, I get what you're saying, because AP 1 against Armor 9, they're still looking for 8s, but yeah.
Well,
is it heavy armor?
It is heavy armor.
Yes, I
But
mean if they're wounding it at all, they're shooting at it with AP1 at least. So
right. Maybe it's just what I was going up against though, because it being a flyer, the stuff that had range to shoot it. I mean, traditionally, I don't know. It seemed like a lot of stuff had AP. Maybe that was the units I was playing against, or the orders of the factions that I was playing against. But it it didn't last near as long as it in my next couple of games. But yeah, game one definitely got a ton of work out of the gunship.
yeah, well, and you had a good game one, obviously, because it bumped you up to top table round 2 against Sam,
Mhm.
where you faced off against Cis Plague,
Mhm.
and that was the corner deployment mission. So, and
Yeah,
while this one goes down in the records as quite the slaughter, it was in your mind not the slaughter that the stat sheet recorded.
well, yeah. I mean, I think that was like, the way the game went. I was in it through probably turn 3. Things were slowly going against me, right? But it wasn't like a one turn slaughter. It was just 2 turns of really good rolls for him and 2 turns of really bad rolls for me.
In that game, if I'm not mistaken, you guys hit turn 5, rolled for the extra turn, and went 6 turns.
Yes. Now, granted, those later turns became really,
Really quick.
easy. Because I killed a good chunk of his, and he ended up tabling me. So, comment on kind of both the 2 last games. I tend to play into my strengths. My opponent's strengths and weaknesses be damned. And I've kind of learned my lesson. I like looking back. I think the reason I didn't do as well in game 2 and game 3 is because I ignored my opponent's strengths and maybe even played into them, or even though I thought I was playing into my strengths. Maybe I should have been a little more defensive.
If I can ask, what was Stam's answer to your Chimera given AA?
So I was very aggressive with it, got it in within range of stuff, and he ended up rolling pretty well. I can't
What
remember
shot
what
at it? I don't know that he had anything that had the range to shoot it.
it might have got mostly ignored though.
Well, I
You
mean, if it
need
tabled
you
you, it
need.
had to get killed.
Yeah.
I don't think he had anything with the range to shoot it off the top of my head.
Or did you take your extra dice and drop it down to get mauled?
I did do that one turn, and he might have gotten it that turn.
Okay, that
makes
would make
sense.
sense.
But even still, you'd still have to have the. I mean, anything that has a range greater than 15 can shoot it.
I don't think he had anything that had that though, because he had the Colossus, zombies, HMGs.
He had
The beefier, close combat guys. I forget their names off the top of my
Leapers?
head. No, the bigger ones.
Oh, aberrations.
Aberrations, yeah, he had those.
Well, if he took the extra dice and took away its fly, then anything could have mauled it.
Tank Buster Striders.
Do you have those?
I think his Striders were Tank Buster because they definitely were shooting things further away than 9 inches. So
Okay, I
Well,
must have
Plague
just
only
forgot
has-
that he had those.
Plague only has Tank Strider or Tank Buster and close combat Striders. So
Yeah, he
And
must have.
epic,
Okay,
so-
I must have forgot he had those.
So while those weren't a lot of dice, he did have a few groups of them. And given your short range and kind of a saltiness in the Plague, I think outside observation those might be close to required. I mean, AP2,
Otherwise, you're just going to have to ignore AA. Yeah.
AP2 and Vicious is pretty good. But also, I think a lot of the game, so we had a center objective in the center building, and through some trickeration, it wasn't that much trickeration. I was in building turn 1, right? But also the building was big enough that by about half an inch, he was able to get his Colossus
Oh, no.
in range of the building on turn 1.
Crunch.
Yeah. And I do think it's a little weighted wrong with what the armor of the building is and the amount of AP that it has. It basically had a better than 50% chance after it hit to blow the building up.
Let's see. It's armor 9 and
It was AP3, so
AP3, so 6 up. Not that I know from experience.
So yeah, I had two groups in the building turn 1. So in that one roll, he wiped 2 of my squads.
Yeah, how the turns have tabled at that point.
So yeah, I had some heavies and some marauders, commandos in there turn 1. So if that thing couldn't have blown the building up, right, I would have had a good amount of expert protection, had range on his zombies, and might have pot shot him. But also, I aggressively went up board to make it so slow things could range in quicker, right?
Right.
I outranged him. I had a pretty rangy list, and I put myself in vulnerable places way more than I should have. Thinking back, right? I should have turtled a bit more because I outranged dwarves.
I feel like rangy lists are the right answer against plague armies because so much of their stuff is shorter range or moving into assault. So you want to be able to sit back and shoot them, but also objectives. So
Yeah, I'm essentially just giving them their saves and just rushing them up the field and just being like, well, I'll accept my losses.
yeah, but I mean, zombies are one of the best chaff units you can get in that game. I mean, they seem pricey, but shit, 9 bases and the potential to regenerate themselves, especially if you push a plague lord behind them. I would be running all the zombies.
So yeah, that was my fun game 2. I mean, I sat on a lot of early objectives, right? Like he wasn't outpointing me on the early turns. He started really outpointing me because I think you were getting points for killing stuff, weren't you?
Not in game 2. I will say, you guys clearly didn't read the tournament pack because the tournament pack clearly specified the game ends on turn 5. But
I knew that.
say what?
Oh, oops.
I knew that.
It rules as written, you may roll for an extra turn, but given the 2-hour window that we were playing in, I was like, turn 5 is the last turn.
Some of us are pro players and kick it a game to go to 6.
Irrelevant either way. I think it was the only game of the day that made it 6 turns. Well, Jordan, leading into round 3, you were still in the hunt though because you took the 3rd place player at table 2 with Ryan and his Forge Fathers.
Yes. So part of me, part of my own laziness cost me a little bit here because in placing objectives, he placed his on the side of the table he was on, closer, assuming that he would end up there. And I was a little more defensive in where I put mine, and like, okay, we're gonna end up fighting over these. So I can't remember if I had the choice aside or not, because he did have or maybe that's partly what it was. It's a risk reward because there's a couple of different roles there. So yeah, he ended up placing, because there was 5 objectives, he ended up placing 2 and I ended up placing 1, or whatever that ratio was.
Yeah. Well, it's one in each backboard, I think.
So yeah, one had to be placed on each of our backboards, but then the other one, basically, he got pick of where it went range wise, so it favored the side of the table he ended up on, and he was able to claim that side of the table. I chose to orbital deploy my Chimera, and I had put my maulers in there, and I was thinking I'd be able to assault with them out of it and shoot with it the same turn.
Mm-hmm.
But since deploying stuff out of a transport they have to have the same command, right?
Right. You had to take a sprint.
So you can't have a transport. You can't have a transport shoot, move and shoot and deploy in the same turn. It deploys out melee units to assault, right?
Right.
If I had a leader in range, I could have actually done that, because the Marauders have that rule where I can burn a point.
Cunning.
Burn a point to change an order on the fly during movement phase. I do wish that if you were only moving a short move, that you could still, like, I don't know that I like the feel that you have to sprint to assault. Seems like a bit of an edge case.
Well, I think it's to prevent units like assault enforcers, for example, being a little too OP. I'm going to shoot you, and then I'm going to move in and assault you. So,
well, no, because to assault you have to move in, right? You have to move in
yeah.
combat, movement, and then shooting. Like, I don't see a good reason why you shouldn't be able to just use an advance and end up in melee and still do it.
Because Overwatch would have already happened.
No, like,
even with an advance, you're going to move before a sprint, or you're going to move and sprint before you take your Overwatch. So if you advance into a melee, you would still trigger the Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you don't. It's when you're getting assaulted is when you get your Overwatch.
Oh yeah, I guess.
But yeah, I ended up again a little too aggressive, a little too ranged into the dwarf short range stuff. I don't want to blame the dice too much too, but I feel I didn't have the advantage to take advantage of the orcs double order to sneak some extra AP.
Mm-hmm.
And my list outside of the Chimera, right? I don't have. There's not a deep high amount of AP. Like, there's a lot of AP in the Marauder list, but it doesn't stack up to AP2 as much as some of the other factions do. And it definitely felt a little slower going against the heavy armored stuff for me.
I mean, Wolverines are 2 shots AP2. What more do you need?
Who what?
Wolverines are 2 shots AP2.
He says from his magma destroyer.
Hmm. I guess I should have brought more Wolverines.
Just didn't want to hear me yelling Wolverines over and over every time I walked past your table.
Wolverines.
The game still ended up pretty close at the end, if I recall the score correctly, though.
And we kind of pulled away the last couple of turns. It was kind of close, and then just attrition. It wasn't that he necessarily outkilled me. It's just where the objectives were and how they were flipping. He was in way better scoring positions than I was. Basically,
Yeah, no, kill point wise, he didn't outscore you for the tournament for sure. You had more kill points than him overall in the tournament.
Mm-hmm. But we also only ended up to turn 3 on that one. So there was a lot of stuff on the table. It could have been a wholly different game if we were able to get to turn 6. Like, it wasn't full game. It wasn't decided, right? But I will say it was probably favoring him because of some of the stuff I lost. So I felt a little weird, but point for point, I guess it felt okay. I did end up having my Maulers in an assault against Thorgrim.
That had to be fun to watch.
No, I rolled crappy with my Maulers. I think I killed one base, a Thorgrim. And even because his commander was in the same melee, his Thorgrim against my Mauler's decent armor had like and this was just 6 bases. They ended up with, I don't know, 9 or 10, like way overkilled my Maulers. Like,
oof.
And even looking at the math of it, though, the Thorgrim have some pretty high AP on their.
Aren't they AP2?
AP2 or
Three.
Three.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I'm gonna run those at every super heavy.
And it's a troop choice, right? So it is super, super expensive, but
yeah, but it takes 4 turns to get them in the range of something.
Yeah, unless somebody ranges into them, right? And that goes back into I played into my opponent's strengths more than I should have.
Here you go, Jordan.
Thorgrim are good. I just don't see you building a whole list of them.
Challenge accepted.
Do it.
Hey, when I return to painting Epic, they may be on the table. Well, Josh, that brings us to you. You brought the Forge Daddies, and round 1, you faced off against Denver and his Asterians. So, what did you bring in your list?
I brought terrible dice in my list.
Me too.
But no, my list was one could say it was 2/3 of the dwarf list that attended the tournament, because my third round opponent and I had nearly identical lists. But 2 companies by the chief Brocker, leading each company, 2 units of Steel Warriors. Each company had a unit of Stern Hammer battle tanks. I then had a unit of Iron Ancestors, 2 units of the Halter half tracks, and the Atmospheric Fighters, the Hlock Atmospheric Fighters. So going into round one was the one where for the first 3 turns you didn't actually score except for killing things. We both played a little cagey turn 1, and this was against Denver with the Asterians. There was a little bit of a rules issue that we ran into. He never claimed his he had Cairn command tank.
Command Center?
Yeah, modeled on the giant flying stand, and I didn't know the rules for the thing. And he was moving it around like a flyer, so I just assumed it was a flyer because it was modeled on the base that's like 5 inches tall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't until like round 3 that I discovered that it was not a flyer and I could have been shooting it this entire time. But we were playing KG, and I think we only made it to the end of round 3. I think I lost 3 units and he lost like 2 total. But he had taken a lot of losses. But he decimated my Iron Ancestors with the most unlikely results. He had a unit of the was it Blade Master the Blade Master guys.
Spectre Blade Masters.
Yeah, and they ran into some Iron Ancestors, and he attacked, only managed to land 1/8, but they had Vicious. So he then rolled another 8, and then another 8.
Oh no!
And I kid you not, I did not make a save with my army until game 3.
Oh,
And I spent almost any time the 2 points to reroll saves. So all of my Iron Ancestors got smoked out the gates. But it was a fun game. Had fun learning the Asterian ways. We only made it to turn 3, but with turn 4 and scoring, I felt it would have had a way different outcome. But no, Denver picked up the win. Game 2 against Don. Don tar pitted me and was able to just sit on the objectives that he was able to. My force was so scattered and not able to devote firepower to units in the center in his giant tar pit because I lacked the ability to shoot all around the table with the corner deployments and the objectives. They were scattered all across there. And you also had to keep a unit in your deployment zone for scoring. So I just felt short range fatigue, and I wasn't able to put my firepower where I really wanted things.
Hey, I don't want to rule check you here real quick, but you can't burn a command point to reroll saves.
Yes, you can. As a Forge Daddy, you spent 2 command points.
I stand corrected with your BS special rule.
Yeah, 'tis but a scratch. Yeah, so it's really sad when you're re-rolling 6-up saves and still not making
now you're
it.
just pathetic, sir.
Yeah, it was painful. I've never felt so betrayed by dice. But yeah, so Don picks up the win game 2 after tar pitting me. And then game 3 was against Mace, who had nearly the same list. The only difference was he didn't have the Holter half tracks or the atmospheric fighters. He had a second squad of Iron Ancestors and the Jotun AA platform unit. And for the first 2 turns, things were okay ish, but I still wasn't making saves. And then by turn 3, I was starting to finally make some saves, and my 1 unit of the Sternhammer tanks was actually able to stick around. But at that point, his list just wiped the floor with me because, he was rolling nice and adequate and making his saves where I wasn't. And it got to the point that he actually tabled me, and I was cheering him on. We were.
I recall that.
I was making sure that he was going to table me. I wasn't gonna hide in the back corner. No. I marched out there and met my end as a proper
Die with
dwarf.
your boots on.
Exactly. But Mace did show me different ways of running the dwarves that I hadn't really considered before. So I was really appreciative of that. Yeah, I mean, dwarves just struggle with command points. I feel like both he and we were both starved every single turn for command points.
That just means you have lots of good things to spend them on, right?
Well,
Or you have really good things that are expensive.
when you
Or
spend,
you just have crappy rolls and are overusing them to re-roll.
yeah, you spend 2 of your 5 command points to re-roll your saves, and nothing comes up. It hurts.
I feel for you.
Yeah. Overall, I think my list on paper was really adequate, really good. I am going to make a couple of slight changes for Adepticon, but
That's a question I wanted to get to after we were done doing all the game reviews. Was lessons learned.
yeah, no, I mean, I'm really happy with my list. I think anybody should be able to put that on the table and win with it if your dice just behave. Like Mace was like, could not believe how poorly I was rolling.
That was
But
my
yes,
game too with Josh.
it was pain.
At one point in my game with Josh, he just reached out with a handful of dice and offered his dice to me because he couldn't bear to watch my rolls betray me anymore.
But I actually ended up, even though I took last in the tournament, or second to last in the tournament, if you count like win, loss, draws kind of stuff. After not winning any games, I still placed higher than Jordan because all of my games that I did lose were very, very competitive scenario point wise.
Do you guys need a grudge match round 1 at Adepticon?
I'd like to skirt the angry hornet chimera thing. I don't need to fight that.
Sure, you won't.
It's been quite a while. I don't think I've played Josh in a war game since before Adepticon a couple of years ago when he got me to play Pirates for a year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, okay. Maybe we do need a grudge match at Adepticon.
I can arrange that.
Grudge match.
Well, since I only had 11 people show up, I got to play a couple of games. My other local Trey showed up late, so I played him a half game round 1. But I brought some enforcers, 2 companies, peacekeeper captain, 2 squads of operatives, 2 squads of peacekeepers, and a punisher. And then the second company was a captain, 2 heavy weapons, and a squad of victors. The half game round 1 was very similar to the game Trey and I had played. There's a battle report up on the YouTube channel if you want to watch it. But he had a much firmer understanding of the rules and just rushed his Colossus straight up the board, which I almost killed. But he ate the building full of peacekeepers again. And he eked out like a 4-0 victory in that game because we didn't get past round 2 with only playing half the game. But round 2, I got to play Josh Lohman, so it was some hot enforcer on enforcer action, and I couldn't make a save, I couldn't make a hit, I couldn't wound, I'd like nothing. Like my dice were just like, you didn't want to show up to this, you're a ringer anyways. And yeah, like I said previously, he tried to give me his dice at one point. It was so bad. So he throttled me thoroughly in that game. And then round 3, I got to play Kirill, and I managed to get my rocket teams into buildings just past the backboard turn 1, which allowed me to snipe his Wolverines, bringing his troops up for objectives. And then I was able to rush my peacekeepers up board into those objectives and start securing them early on. And then my punishers were just on point. He had kind of moved all of his infantry up together. He didn't really have them blobbed, but they were close enough that the scatter was benefiting me, and I was catching multiple squads in blast templates. So, like end of turn 2, I think Kirill looked at me. He's like, "I've got no answer to this force." He's like, his infantry was decimated. He still had armor left, but he would have had to have brought the armor within range of my missile teams to score anything. And my missile teams were holding a backboard objective and had decent views of fire. So I was just like, bring them here. I'll wait. Unlike Forge Fathers, I was flush with command points and was just waiting to put high velocity ammo on rocket launchers. So, range 20, 6 shots, AP2 vicious. I'll wait. So, yeah, we ended up actually calling that game early because Kirill knew he was bottom table, and I wasn't winning anything, and I was bottom table. So, and we BS'd about other stuff, but so Josh, we were kind of hinting at it a minute ago, and this question's open to all three of you. Given the experience now and knowing that the tournament pack is extremely similar, mission 3 is now mission 1, mission 1 is now mission 3. It's the only major change, and then I clarified the information on the scenario sheet so that there's not a lot of questions and everything's bolded and bullet pointed, so you know the important stuff right at a glance. But list wise, then having played these scenarios and encountered new opponents almost completely across the board, any changes, Don, coming to your list for Adepticon?
Yeah, for sure. I'm probably dumping all, but maybe one mule. I still haven't figured out who I want for my second commander. If it's going to be a level stage 3, he'll be in a mule. But I'm going to go heavy assault squad with leapers and zombies and aberration. Or no, what's the commander?
Plague Lord?
Plague Lord, thank you. Going up into the thick of it, and then I'm going to have... I'm still playing around with what I want on my backfield. It's going to be Tank Buster Striders, because that's my only chance against aircraft. And then I'll probably keep a squad of indirect fire. And then I'm not sure. And then a Colossus is on my table as well. So I'm still having and hawing at how I want to put all that together.
Well, I'm excited to see you paint up that Colossus. I had such a good time painting one up that it's a pretty model.
Yeah, I can't wait to paint something that won't hurt my eyes.
Well, you got 2 weeks to do it.
Huh?
I said you got 2 weeks to do it.
I got a lot more than just him to paint.
Chop, chop, son.
I know, I'm working on it.
What about you, Jordan? Any major changes coming to the Marauders for Adepticon?
Keep going back and forth on how vulnerable the Chimera is and how much work it got done. Yeah, I think I'm going to play around with it some. I just haven't figured it out yet.
What about you, Josh? Any major changes with Adepticon?
Yes, slightly. This is going to be a controversial take, but I'm going to ditch the iron.
Oh.
No. I'm ditching the Iron Ancestors, which is like the MVP unit of dwarves, and I'm going to ditch the Flyers and a unit of the Holter half tracks. And what that allows me to do is bring 2 units of Juggernauts. So slightly less range, well, half the range of Iron Ancestors, but 2 units of them.
That'll make you unstoppable.
That's what I'm going for. Dwarven armor in buildings can only lead to good times.
Until a Colossus knocks the building over.
Well, then we just don't go in buildings if there's a Colossus with the Devastator demo, whatever it is.
Demolition, yeah. Or Demolisher, I think.
Whatever it's called. And then one of the Jotun, what are they called?
Anti-airs.
Jotun weapon platforms. Yeah, it's just an anti-air unit, but so it's essentially the same, but slightly different with a little bit more offensive punch from the walkers.
I am not mistaken, and I'm going to look at Firefight to confirm that. I think the Jotun is just a Sternhammer. Yeah, quad heavy hailstorm cannon. It's a Sternhammer with a 4-barrel autocannon on it.
Well, in Epic, it's a dude on a little cart.
Well, that's weird. Well, overall, good experience. Happy with the game experience. Happy with the game in general, or
I thought the game played really, really well, very smoothly. I mean, I've thought that all along, but doing it at a tournament really wasn't any giant major rules issues that got messed up. Besides, like maybe Don and I with the assaults and Overwatch, but no, I was really happy with it.
Jordan?
In general, I was happy with the way things were, except for my two biggest complaints were how good being in the building is. Too good.
I've only been saying that since, I don't know, the first podcast.
Right.
Listen,
exactly.
Don hasn't come to most of the podcasts, so
I'm doubling up on you, Josh. I agree with that. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, there usually needs to be easier ways to get rid of them, or there needs to be easier ways to, or they need to be less powerful in the buildings.
Well, there's a disparity. The higher your armor goes, the better a building is for you. Because, like, you can put a Dwarven Iron Ancestor in a building, and he becomes armor 9.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Well, I mean, even Enforcer operatives go in there; they go up to armor 7. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at.
I just like it's not to be all like rivet counter or whatever, but I'm bombarding a building 3 rounds in a row with my indirect fire shelling, and it's doing nothing to the stuff inside, and I'm like, that's not right.
I may aesthetically enjoy buildings on tables too much too. I'll say it. I could be.
No, I mean it's a choice you get to take. Like, it doesn't limit you to
Right.
terrain. So the rules should accommodate choices they allow you to take.
So I do think that there is a drought of Demolisher in the game currently, and we are expecting the first game expansion coming in summer, if I'm not mistaken. So my hope is that we will see some more Demolisher options make it into all the armies. I know, for example, Enforcers have nothing that is AP3 in the entire.
I'm kind of on the fence on how to deal with that. Like, I'm kind of with you. Like, I like the terrain being on the table. Like, I don't want to just see it all get demolished. I don't want that to be the only way to get rid of people in the buildings. Because then you start losing the coolness of the table aesthetics.
Well, I mean, you can assault the building. You can assault the building.
But they get the bonuses for the assault, so like it's not as easy as that.
Well, roll better.
Get in the building quicker,
Go faster.
Right, yeah. I don't feel any better about me controlling the building than, the other way around.
Oh, I do. I always feel better controlling the building.
And then I don't like that you're on Overwatch. You also participate in the assault. I think you get to shoot first before I hit you, and then I think that should be it.
Well, you're wrong.
I am not wrong.
the flip side of that conversation is you probably shouldn't assault an Overwatched unit.
What are my zombies going to do?
Or conversely, you throw something like zombies at them that you can afford to lose, and then you prevent that unit from targeting something important. If the rocket team is on Overwatch with high velocity ammo, they pose a real threat to a Colossus. But if you throw a squad of zombies at them, then you force them to trigger their Overwatch and take them out of the combat. And I think it also depends on what you're assaulting. Like, for example, as an Enforcer player, if you assault my operatives or my heavy weapons, I'm only throwing 6 dice at you, full strength, on 5 ups. So unless I get really lucky, I'm probably not going to do a lot of damage to you. You're going to take your hurt coming in from the shooting, but the actual assaulting is not going to be overly impressive.
That's how Don kept me hard pitted in our game.
Yeah. If we are evenly matched in my assault abilities and your shooting abilities, you automatically get the benefit because you get to shoot, which is your benefit, and then also you get to participate in the assault. So you weakened me.
If you assault a squad of operatives with a squad of leapers, you are.
I'm saying if we're evenly matched.
Well, there's no such thing though.
I'm saying if you can shoot just as good as I can assault, the shooting squad gets the advantage. Just because they get to shoot and assault. I don't think.
I know, but I'm just
them not being able to initiate the assault isn't really a bonus in my eyes.
That's because you're not paying attention to activation control, Don. Jeez.
It's not a game-winning strategy that they don't get to choose to assault.
Yeah,
So
I kind of agree with Don.
I think this becomes stronger in that with Epic, the charging unit doesn't get to attack first, right? Like, there's not near the advantage of charging in.
Exactly, yeah. So, if they want to keep it that they still get to assault, even while they're on Overwatch, there should be some sort of penalty to that. It shouldn't just be full-on normal assault after they get to shoot, too. Anyways, that's my soapbox.
I like it.
That's the hill, and you're going to die on it. Sorry, I put my mic up, so I don't even know if you heard me say I'm dying. All right. Jordan, did I ask you about changes to your list?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were talking about. You're thinking about.
I said I'm not wholly sure.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about not bringing a heavy, maybe switching heavies, but I like that Chimera so much, but also it just died too much too. So
you love it and you hate it. Well, we're running a little long for us here. We're creeping up on an hour and 20, but let's move into the hobby desk here as we wrap things up. So, Don, what are you working on?
I'm just continuing to work on my plague. While we were talking, I got everything to a tabletop standard. Well, a 3-color standard for Adepticon. So from here on out, I need to work on my highlighting on the entire crew. Well, first I got to put my list together so I can figure out what I need to finish painting. But I'll definitely be doing start to finish on a couple of new units that you had 3D printed for me. But for the most part, everything is at its base level. So I can pick up the highlights from here on out.
You did make me think of something when you said that about putting the list in. And I know you guys know because we talked about it on Discord, but if you're still listening at this point and you couldn't see the tournament, I notified Clive today that I had a couple of people report to me that they couldn't find the event that I had to send the direct submission link to. And it turned out that the list was pulling from Kings of War events. So when you were looking at Epic Warpath, you weren't seeing any Epic events. The code was pointing to Kings. So they got that fixed and it's reporting in. When Clive told me, he's like, it's fixed. I said, was this user issues, or is this on your guys' side? He's like, it was a code issue. He's like, it's totally us. I was like, oh, good. It's like that's what I like to hear, is that I didn't screw it up. So, but so that is now fixed. If you're hosting an Epic event, it is showing up in the companion correctly now. So, Josh, what about you? I know you're not at home tonight, but anything sitting on the hobby desk?
I have a second unit of Juggernauts that I need to get painted for bringing to Adepticon, and then a donkey. I'm trying to paint up a donkey for my Blood and Plunder list that I'm bringing to Adepticon. But other than that,
that donkey's becoming like the Widowmaker for you, isn't it?
I'm trying to get it done. It's just I'm never home. I'm traveling.
Would you say it's a pain in the ass?
It is a pain in my burrow.
Soundboard.
Love it.
We can bring it over to Jordan's, because Derek likes finishing up people's armies last minute for them.
This is true, Josh. If you need me to paint something while we're at Jordan's before Adepticon, I'm
it's
here.
like 70% painted. I just need to finish it up.
All right. Well, if you don't get it done, I'll push it across the finish line for you.
The donkey, you just dry brush that thing. Come on.
I will drag your ass across the finish line. I don't know if there's any more ass jokes to be made here, but I'm going to try. Jordan, what about you? What's sitting on the paint table?
Been working hard on salamanders, and then
God damn it.
and then I actually assembled during the podcast here. I was assembling some Hammer Fist drop troops.
Listen, some of us have to be focused on ensuring a high quality, well recorded podcast and maintaining and structuring the conversation. We don't get to hobby while we're recording, guys.
I'm drinking.
Oh.
What? Different hobby.
So Don, I think you're aware, but I bet Jordan that if he actually fully painted a Kings of War army, that I would finally paint my orcs. And then Josh doubled down. He's like, I'll do my Abyssal Dwarves. And are you gonna follow through if Jordan finishes his salamanders? Are you gonna do a King's army?
I am not in as good a position as you guys are to play that game. So while I do want to eventually finish out my undead, it's not going to be nearly as quickly as you guys. Because I have several units of undead that I was using towards our Arrowin armies that we were eventually going to get to and didn't get to. So,
I
do have a head start on it. I just don't have a full army.
I think Jordan has slated us to 1,000 points. So I did print my Crudger on Wing Slasher. So I have my commander.
I didn't necessarily slate to anything, and I didn't even ask for any commitment. But other than learning, and if I'd played previous to 4th edition, I think I would have realized this. But the resources I had, I missed a couple of basing sizes, so I have to redo a couple of bases. But I already have like 1,400 and 1,500 points painted, so
that is mind blowing to me, considering it's taken you 2 years to get your Marauders painted.
Ooh.
I was in a really big painting funk for a really, really long time, and I've been motivated, I guess, since the turn of the year, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you've been cranking stuff out.
Like, I feel like, well, when I started the Marauders for Firefight, I ended up doing 2 different schemes for the infantry, and then the one I chose to keep was the one I had less of them painted as. So I just really didn't want to paint 30 to 40 infantry orcs for, the baseline guys, commandos and brawlers for Firefight, and it was a pretty big hurdle. And then I got into a really good groove and ended up painting like 40 or 50 of them within a couple 2-3 weeks.
Some of us play armies that pretty much only have infantry, so
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just a fear of a lot of the same, right? Like it was
Yeah.
very unfulfilled, and it was a bit too daunting.
Yeah, and if you're not a batch painter, that can really get overwhelming quickly.
And while I've discovered I don't necessarily like them that much, I got a good chunk done with some speed paint markers, and play a lot of Civilization with my uncle on the interweb. And there's a lot of turn waiting, right? So also that was an easy thing to do in the downtime of the turns.
Nice.
And broke up the monotony, right? Because it's always easier to paint with company than without. So that provided me some extra motivation.
See, I'm a weird antisocial curmudgeon like that because I'm like I prefer like either like music or complete silence when I'm painting. But
And then what a good thing helping me jump ahead on the salamanders too is I'm going heavy elementals. So it's easy to cheat on a fire elemental. Between speed paints and airbrush, it's extremely fast.
Well, I'm on this cusp of growing a firefight community locally. I've got somewhere between 4 to 6 interested players. So I have decided that I'm going to get 500 point demo armies of everything I can done. So I already have Enforcers, Asterians, and GCPS, but I've now cranked out 750 points of Forge Fathers, and I'm working on 500 points of Marauders, and I have 500 points of Vermin Volt Chasers done, printed, just not painted. That'll be 6 armies, and I don't know if I have anything else over there to paint. I do have a sick interest in painting up a bunch more Marines, because running like 14-man squads of Marines has become something that I'm a little bit obsessed with. I'm seriously considering getting a second Hornet done and running like 2 12-man squads and Hornets and just dropping them on stuff to unload a ton of dice. But
for GCPS?
Yeah, just massive fire lines of Marines. But that will be a down the road project because I had to paint all those peacekeepers for Adepticon. I've got like 25 or 30 peacekeepers painted up for my firefight list. Jordan, you and I are the only ones playing firefight at Adepticon, correct?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
someone dropped out on us. Oh, Patrick, yeah. I think that was up to 10 players last time I saw, though. So
it'd be more if it was 3 rounds.
Yeah, I don't love the 4-round structure myself. I think 3 rounds is kind of 3, 2.5 hour rounds is kind of where I want to be. Anything beyond that, and I'm like tired of playing. Which you'll note is why the Epic Warpath tournament is 3 rounds, because I didn't want to run more than 3, and I think that's more than adequate. And then that still gives everybody a little bit of time to try to slink into the vendor hall or do something else at the event. I mean, it is Adepticon, and it's fun to check out seminars and Golden Demon and all the other different painting competitions going on. So there's plenty to do outside of just play games. There's alcohol to consume, cheese to eat.
Cheese to eat, okay.
Oh, we're going to be in Wisconsin, so yeah.
Oh, all right. I got you. I don't get it. I will be curious to see, though, after having run 2 tournaments, if you feel that the bump to 2,000 is the right move, and does 2,000 need to go to 6x4? Like, it would be cool to see like how we feel past that point, like how
I
to move
I
forward.
I feel like I really like 1500 from a list build standpoint, because the idea of committing to a super heavy is really a commitment at that point level. At 2000, it's a lot easier to be like, I'm going to toss in a super heavy, and I've still got 1600 points to flesh out the rest of the army. So it's a little more casual about it. I do think, though, moving forward, that 2000, somewhere in that 2000 2500 point range is probably going to become the popular meta. But
What about meet in the middle, 1750?
well, yeah, it's possible too. That would still move to a 6x4. I feel like playing on a 6x4 would probably be nice, though, because that would then your placement of your artillery becomes more important. Because on a 4x4, you can plop those things in the back corner and still
Your
pretty much
super
hit
heavies.
forward.
Yeah, your super heavies are a little more hindered too on a 6x4.
Yeah, so I mean, I certainly see play challenges that are more interesting by bumping up to that 6x4. But yeah, 1750 is an interesting suggestion. Maybe we'll play around with that post Adepticon.
Nope. Keep it 4x4. Dwarves don't have range.
Yeah, but you also got more opportunities for spreading out your objectives, and you can cluster stuff in four.
Those Thorgrim cannot get across the table fast enough. You got to keep it 4x4.
Well, you can.
They only need to get to the
ATCs.
objective. Just go up there. You set your dwarf butts on the objective. That's all you care about.
Plus, I mean, get better commanders and just spam that sprint order. The unnatural sprinters, is that what it's called?
There is no better commander.
Oh. Well, it must be horrible to have such a poorly commanded army.
I mean, for 45 points, we've got a hell of a steal of a commander, but it stops there. There's no commanders past the Chief Brocker.
Clearly, the answer is to run 3 companies and 6 squads of steel warriors.
If we go 1750, steel warriors just aren't good. Well, whatever. We could save it for another podcast.
With enough dead space there, I was going to hit the cricket sound, but then you spoke, so
Josh did not agree.
took away my joy. All right, well, we are at the hour and a half mark. This is officially our longest episode of Pinned and Broken. So, Don, do you have any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Nope. Let's wrap it up.
Right, next time we talk to everybody, it'll be post Adepticon. But Jordan, anything to say?
Just looking forward to the show, man. Excited to meet new friends, see old ones, and get a lot of games in. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice being back there, like involved in the Mantic events for a second year, because we will get to bump into some familiar faces now. Josh, anything on your mind?
You know, I think I've covered everything today. I don't have any rules things to point out.
All right, that's a first. A lot of firsts tonight. Well, let's wrap this up in the immortal words of Jordan. Be careful how you watch.